Most people think a morning shower is the perfect start to the day. But for seniors over 70, it might be the most dangerous part of your routine. In fact, at 74, George Mason still walked his dog every morning, read the newspaper without glasses, and fix things around the house better than men half his age. But one Tuesday morning, everything changed in the span of 7 minutes. His daughter found him lying unconscious on the bathroom floor, soaked, silent, and barely breathing. No heart attack, no known illness, just a shower at the wrong time. Most seniors don't realize this, but showering at a certain hour can quietly increase your risk of falling, fainting, or worse, without a single warning sign. It's not the water, it's not your age, it's the science your body follows every morning and what happens when you go against it. Let's begin with the one factor you can't control, but absolutely need to understand first: your body's dangerous morning surge. 1. Blood pressure surge, 8 a.m., 8 a.m. The silent spike. You may wake up feeling fine, refreshed even, but deep inside your body, something else is happening, something invisible but powerful. Your heart and blood vessels are going through one of the most dramatic shifts of the entire day, and you may not even feel it. That's exactly why it's so dangerous. Doctors call it the morning surge. Between 4 and 8 in the morning, your body transitions from deep rest to full alertness. And that shift doesn't happen gently. As you begin to wake, your brain triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones push your system into motion. Heart rate increases, blood vessels tighten, and your blood pressure can spike fast. According to the Mayo Clinic, this spike can be as much as 50% higher than your resting pressure. For younger people, that's usually not a problem. But for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure, heart disease, or fragile circulation, it can be the first domino in a dangerous chain reaction. Dr. Kevin Morris, a geriatric cardiologist with over 2 decades of experience, describes it this way: waking up is already a workout for your heart. When you add a hot shower to that equation, steam, heat, humidity, you're asking your cardiovascular system to sprint the moment it opens its eyes. And that sprint, especially on tired legs, can lead straight to dizziness, fainting, or even worse. Louise knows exactly what that feels like. She's 76, lives alone in rural Ohio, and has been an early riser all her life. Her morning routine was sacred: coffee brewing at 5:15, shower by 5:30, and a short walk before the sun came up. But one morning, that rhythm broke. As she stepped out of the shower, she felt a wave of lightheadedness. Her vision narrowed. She reached for the towel rack, but her hand missed. In a flash, she was on the bathroom floor, soaked, stunned, and unable to get up. It wasn't until her daughter Sarah called an hour later and got no answer that anyone knew something was wrong. When Sarah arrived and found her mom bruised and shaken, the guilt in her voice was heavy. "Mom, what if no one had come?" she whispered, eyes welling with tears. At the hospital, the doctors explained it clearly. Louise's blood pressure had surged after waking, and the heat from her shower caused a sudden drop. Her body couldn't adjust fast enough. The fall could have been fatal. Today, Louise still wakes early, but she's made one simple change. She waits. Her shower now happens at 11, when her body is fully awake and her blood pressure has settled. Her daughter still calls every morning, just to be sure. If you're over 70, this one shift in timing could make all the difference. Waiting until mid-morning, 10 or 11 a.m., gives your cardiovascular system time to stabilize. Your heart won't be under sudden pressure, your muscles will be more responsive, and you'll be less likely to lose your balance or consciousness. Think of your body like an old car on a cold morning. You wouldn't slam the accelerator the moment you start the engine. You let it warm up first. Your heart deserves the same care. And now I'd like to ask you, what time do you usually shower? Have you ever felt dizzy or unsteady afterward, even just a little? If you're comfortable, leave a comment and share. You never know who might need to hear your story. That's just the first of 9 hidden dangers most people never think about. In the next section, we'll look at another common morning mistake, one that quietly affects every organ in your body and might be the reason so many seniors feel drained before the day even begins. Let's talk about dehydration. Danger point number 1, blood pressure surge, 4 a.m., 8 a.m. The silent spike. You may wake up feeling fine, refreshed even, but deep inside your body, something else is happening, something invisible but powerful. Your heart and blood vessels are going through one of the most dramatic shifts of the entire day, and you may not even feel it. That's exactly why it's so dangerous. Doctors call it the morning surge. Between 4 and 8 in the morning, your body transitions from deep rest to full alertness, and that shift doesn't happen gently. As you begin to wake, your brain triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones push your system into motion. Heart rate increases, blood vessels tighten, and your blood pressure can spike fast. According to the Mayo Clinic, this spike can be as much as 50% higher than your resting pressure. For younger people, that's usually not a problem. But for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure, heart disease, or fragile circulation, it can be the first domino in a dangerous chain reaction. Dr. Kevin Morris, a geriatric cardiologist with over 2 decades of experience, describes it this way. Waking up is already a workout for your heart. When you add a hot shower to that equation, steam, heat, humidity, you're asking your cardiovascular system to sprint the moment it opens its eyes. And that sprint, especially on tired legs, can lead straight to dizziness, fainting, or even worse. Louise knows exactly what that feels like. She's 76, lives alone in rural Ohio, and has been an early riser all her life. Her morning routine was sacred. Coffee brewing at 5:15, shower by 5:30, and a short walk before the sun came up. But one morning, that rhythm broke. As she stepped out of the shower, she felt a wave of lightheadedness. Her vision narrowed. She reached for the towel rack, but her hand missed. In a flash, she was on the bathroom floor, soaked, stunned, and unable to get up. It wasn't until her daughter Sarah called an hour later and got no answer that anyone knew something was wrong. When Sarah arrived and found her mom bruised and shaken, the guilt in her voice was heavy. "Mom, what if no one had come?" she whispered, eyes welling with tears. At the hospital, the doctors explained it clearly. Louise's blood pressure had surged after waking, and the heat from her shower caused a sudden drop. Her body couldn't adjust fast enough. The fall could have been fatal. Today, Louise still wakes early, but she's made one simple change. She waits. Her shower now happens at 11, when her body is fully awake and her blood pressure has settled. Her daughter still calls every morning, just to be sure. If you're over 70, this one shift in timing could make all the difference. Waiting until mid-morning, 10 or 11 a.m., gives your cardiovascular system time to stabilize. Your heart won't be under sudden pressure, your muscles will be more responsive, and you'll be less likely to lose your balance or consciousness. Think of your body like an old car on a cold morning. You wouldn't slam the accelerator the moment you start the engine. You let it warm up first. Your heart deserves the same care. And now I'd like to ask you, what time do you usually shower? Have you ever felt dizzy or unsteady afterward, even just a little? If you're comfortable, leave a comment and share. You never know who might need to hear your story. That's just the first of 9 hidden dangers most people never think about. In the next section, we'll look at another common morning mistake, one that quietly affects every organ in your body and might be the reason so many seniors feel drained before the day even begins. Let's talk about danger point number 2, dehydration. You're already behind before you begin. You might not feel thirsty when you wake up. You might not even think about water at all. But here's the truth. By the time your feet touch the floor in the morning, you're already in a state of dehydration. While you sleep, your body is still hard at work, repairing cells, regulating temperature, breathing, dreaming. All of this burns energy and, more importantly, uses water. On average, we lose up to 1 liter of fluid overnight just through breathing and perspiration. And if you sleep with your mouth open or use a CPAP machine, that number can climb even higher. Now picture this. You wake up slightly dehydrated, your blood a little thicker, your circulation slower. Then you step into a hot shower. The warmth causes your blood vessels to expand. Gravity pulls blood toward your legs, and your dehydrated body can't keep up. The result? Dizziness, lightheadedness, sometimes even a dangerous fall. That's exactly what happened to Patrick, a 79-year-old retired librarian from Vermont. For years, Patrick began every day the same way, up at 6, into the shower by 6:30. And every morning, like clockwork, he felt woozy when the water hit his shoulders. He thought it was just part of getting older. But one morning, his knees buckled completely. He managed to catch the shower rail just in time. His heart was racing, but his body felt empty. At his next doctor's visit, he mentioned it offhand, almost as a joke, but his doctor didn't laugh. Instead, she explained that what Patrick was experiencing wasn't normal aging. It was dehydration, made worse by the heat of the shower and the pressure of standing upright too soon. She gave him a simple instruction. Drink a full glass of water first thing, every morning, before stepping into the shower. Now Patrick keeps a glass by the sink. He drinks it while the shower warms up. No more dizziness, no more shaky knees, Just a small shift that brought back a sense of confidence and safety he didn't realize he'd lost. And here's the beautiful part. It's easy. It costs nothing. It takes less than a minute, but it might just be the 1-minute habit that prevents a major accident. So tomorrow, before you shower, try this. Pour yourself a tall glass of room temperature water. Drink it slowly, steadily. Then wait about 10 to 15 minutes. You'll be amazed at how much better you feel. Stronger, steadier, clearer. Have you ever felt dizzy in the shower and just brushed it off? You're not alone, and there's no shame in sharing. Leave a comment if this has ever happened to you, or if you're going to try this tomorrow. Someone else might read your words and decide to take that glass of water too. If this video is helping you, or if it made you pause and think, don't forget to tap the like button. It helps others find this life-saving information. And if you know someone, a parent, a neighbor, a friend who showers early and lives alone, please share this with them. You never know whose fall you might help prevent. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe. We're building a space here for real conversations, real solutions, and powerful small changes that protect your independence as you age with dignity, wisdom, and strength. Next, we're going to look at something most people never consider, how the very medications keeping your blood pressure under control could be setting you up for a dangerous collapse. Let's talk about timing, pills, and why your body doesn't always agree with your schedule. Danger point number 3. Blood pressure meds plus shower equals a dangerous mix. Your morning routine might feel harmless, maybe even healthy. You wake up, take your pills, and head to the shower, ready to start the day. But what if those 2 simple steps, done back to back, are setting you up for something far more dangerous than you ever imagined? Doctors call it the double drop effect, and for seniors, it's a silent setup for fainting, falls, and even hospitalization. Here's how it works. Many common blood pressure medications are designed to take effect quickly, right after you take them, especially drugs like lisinopril, amlodipine, or metoprolol, medications millions of Americans take each morning. According to data from the Mayo Clinic, these medications often peak between 6 and 8 a.m., just as your body is trying to regulate its own natural blood pressure spike from waking. Now add a hot shower to the mix. Heat causes your blood vessels to expand, pulling blood away from your brain and pooling it in your lower body. The result? Your blood pressure, already low from medication, drops even further, sometimes dangerously so. Dr. Emily Park, a cardiovascular pharmacology specialist, explains it like this. Your medication lowers your pressure from the top. The hot water lowers it from the bottom. What you're left with is a sudden vacuum. And if the brain doesn't get enough blood, the lights go out. Fast. That's exactly what happened to Richard, a 73-year-old grandfather of 4 from Illinois. Richard always followed his doctor's orders. He took his blood pressure meds every morning at 6 o'clock sharp, then stepped right into his usual steaming hot shower. He said it helped him wake up. But one morning, just a few minutes after stepping under the water, he collapsed. His wife found him unconscious, curled in a heap against the bathtub wall, water still running. He was rushed to the ER. Luckily, there was no head trauma, but his blood pressure had bottomed out. It was a preventable crisis, and one that changed his mornings forever. Today, Richard still takes his medication every morning, but now he waits. He gives his body 2 to 3 hours to adjust before stepping into the shower. And since then, no more dizzy spells, no more close calls, just peace of mind and a safer start to his day. If you take any kind of blood pressure medication, this adjustment might be critical. Give your body time to stabilize. Ideally, wait at least 2 to 3 hours after taking your meds before showering. That window allows your circulation to settle and reduces the risk of a sudden drop. It's such a small change, but for many, it's the difference between standing tall and falling hard. Let me ask you this. Do you take blood pressure medication in the morning? And how close is that to your shower time? Leave a comment below. It might help someone connect the dots in their own routine. This is exactly the kind of conversation that can save lives, quietly, one morning at a time. If this story about Richard hit close to home, go ahead and tap the like button. It helps push this message to others who need to hear it. And if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe. We've got more eye-opening insights ahead, all designed to help you live smarter, safer, and stronger after 70. Speaking of vision, let's move into the next danger, one that sneaks up not in your veins but through your eyes. Low light, aging vision, and a slippery bathroom floor. It's a recipe for disaster. Let's talk about why your bathroom might be hiding danger in plain sight. Danger point number 4, vision loss in low light. Slippery hazards multiply. Your eyesight might seem just fine during the day. You can read a newspaper, dial your phone, even enjoy a crossword without much trouble. But what happens when the lights are low? When the bathroom is dim and the floor is wet? That's when even good vision can quietly fail you, and the consequences can be sudden and serious. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that adults over 70 experience up to a 60% reduction in contrast sensitivity, especially in low light. That means even if your vision is sharp on paper, your ability to distinguish subtle changes in shadows, edges, and wet spots drops significantly, especially in the early morning. Think about it. At 5:30 in the morning, you shuffle into the bathroom. Maybe you don't want to wake your spouse, so you skip turning on the light. You rely on memory, familiar steps. But memory doesn't see the puddle of water near the shower. It doesn't see the faint shimmer of soap residue on the tile. And suddenly, your foot slides, your balance is gone, and gravity takes over. That's exactly what happened to Eileen, an 81-year-old widow from Oregon. She'd been waking up before dawn for most of her adult life, an old habit from her nursing days. One morning, she stepped into her bathroom just like always. But she didn't see the thin stream of water left from the night before, barely visible in the pale hallway light. Her foot slipped. She fell hard against the edge of the tub. A broken wrist, a fractured rib, and 6 weeks of rehab followed, all because of a splash of water she never saw coming. Eileen later said, "I thought I was being quiet and careful, but I didn't realize my eyes just don't work the way they used to in the dark." This kind of fall is tragically common, but thankfully, it's easy to prevent. Here's what you can do, starting today. First, install motion-activated night lights along the hallway and inside the bathroom. These gentle lights won't disturb your partner's sleep, but will give your eyes just enough help to adjust quickly. Second, switch out your standard bath mats for non-slip mats in bright, high-contrast colors, like orange, red, or yellow. These stand out clearly even in dim conditions, helping your eyes catch hazards before your feet do. And third, take a moment, just 10 seconds, every evening before bed to scan your bathroom floor. Dry it. Remove clutter. Set yourself up for a safer tomorrow. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your bathroom through the eyes of a senior? If not, tonight might be the perfect time to try. You might be surprised by how little you can see when the lights are low. If this story about Eileen made you think twice, give this video a thumbs up. It lets us know this message matters. And if someone you love is over 70 and still showering in the dark, please share this with them. It only takes one slip to change a life. And now that we've talked about your eyes, let's turn to something most people never expect. How your brain, even when you're awake, might still be asleep. Yes, your body may be moving, but your reaction time, that's another story. Let's talk about why your morning reflexes might not be ready to catch you when you fall. Danger point number 5. Slow brain function. You guys, slower reflexes. Waking up isn't just about opening your eyes. For your brain, it's a process, a gradual climb from deep rest to full alertness, and that climb takes time. In fact, for many older adults, the brain can remain in a fog-like state for up to an hour after waking. According to neurologists at Stanford University, cognitive performance in seniors is reduced by as much as 30% before 8 a.m. That includes reaction time, decision-making, and problem-solving. Exactly the skills you need in a slippery, steamy bathroom. So while your body might be in motion, your brain might still be hitting snooze. Let's put it into perspective. Imagine stepping into a hot shower. Suddenly, the water temperature shifts. It's getting hotter fast. You feel it, but instead of reacting instantly, your brain hesitates. Just for a second. But sometimes, that second is all it takes for harm to happen. That's what happened to Fred, a 78-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan. He'd been adjusting his water heater the week before, and the settings were slightly off. One morning, still groggy and not fully awake, he turned on the shower like always, and didn't realize how hot the water had become. By the time his brain registered the change, his skin had already turned red. He ended up with first-degree burns on his shoulder and back. His doctor said it was lucky he stepped out when he did. It could have been far worse. Fred told his grandson later, "I wasn't slow on purpose. I just wasn't all there yet." And that's exactly the point. It wasn't about forgetfulness. It was about timing. When your brain isn't fully online, your ability to judge temperature, balance, and risk is compromised. It's not weakness, it's biology. And it's why so many accidents happen not because people did something wrong, but because they did something too soon. So how can you protect yourself? Start by giving your brain time to catch up. Wait at least an hour after waking before stepping into the shower. Have your coffee. Eat something light. Let your mind stretch and move. Second, Install a temperature limiting valve or anti-scald device on your shower. These are inexpensive, easy to install, and they prevent water from rising above a safe range, no matter what happens with the heater. And third, listen to your body. If you still feel foggy, if your thoughts are dragging, if your limbs feel slow, wait. There's no rush. Your safety is always worth a few more minutes. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt just a little slower to respond in the early morning? Maybe your reflexes weren't quite there, or you caught yourself hesitating when you normally wouldn't. If so, you're not alone. Drop a comment below if you've experienced that morning fog. We're all learning from each other here, and if this tip gave you something new to think about, give the video a quick like. It helps this message reach someone who might need it, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Of course, even the sharpest brain can't help you if you fall and there's no one there to help. In the next section, we're going to look at one of the scariest truths about early morning showers. Not that you might fall, but that no one may know you did until it's too late. Let's talk about delayed emergency response and what happens when you're alone, wet, and unable to call for help. Danger point number 6, delayed emergency response. No one's awake yet. Let's imagine for a moment that something does go wrong in your morning shower. Maybe you slip. Maybe your blood pressure drops too low. Maybe your leg gives out before you can catch yourself. It's frightening. But here's the part no one talks about. What happens next? At 5 in the morning, most households are still asleep. Phones are silent. The neighborhood is quiet. And if you live alone, as nearly 1 in 4 seniors in the U.S. do, there may be no one nearby to check on you for hours. That's exactly what happened to Paul, a 73-year-old former firefighter from Nebraska. He'd retired proud, independent, and strong. Every morning he stuck to the same routine: coffee, stretch, shower. But one chilly morning in March, Paul stepped out of the shower, lost his footing on the damp tile, and fell. His head hit the floor. He tried to call out, but the wind had been knocked out of him. The water kept running. Time passed, and no one knew. It wasn't until his daughter called 3 hours later and got no answer that she began to worry. She drove over. The front door was unlocked, and there he was, soaked, shivering, disoriented, and dangerously close to hypothermia. The EMTs said if she'd arrived an hour later, the outcome could have been very different. Paul now calls that moment the scariest silence of his life, not the fall, but the waiting, and the truth is he's not alone. According to a study from the Journal of Emergency Medicine, seniors who fall during early morning hours experience up to 40% longer delays in response time, simply because there's no one awake to notice something's wrong. Every minute counts, especially in cold, wet conditions. The longer you stay on the floor, the higher the risk of complications, hypothermia, kidney strain, muscle damage, even death. But it doesn't have to be that way. There are 2 simple changes you can make starting today. First, install a waterproof emergency call button in your bathroom. These devices are small, affordable, and can be worn around the neck or mounted to the wall. With one press, they can alert a loved one or even emergency services that you need help. Second, set up a daily check-in call or message with a family member, friend, or neighbor. Just a quick good morning at 9 a.m. That little moment of connection could be your safety net, and theirs. Now let me ask you something. If you fell in your shower at 5 a.m., could someone reach you within 10 minutes? Think about it. And if the answer is, I don't know, it might be time to put a plan in place. If this story about Paul resonated with you or reminded you of someone you care about, hit that like button. It tells the platform this is a message that matters. And please, share this video with someone you know who lives alone. You might never know what it prevents, but that's the point. And if you're not yet subscribed, consider joining us. We're building a space where real conversations lead to safer, stronger, smarter living after 70. Now that we've talked about getting help when things go wrong, let's take a look at the first line of defense that's been protecting you your entire life, your skin. Because as you age, even the heat from a simple shower could become a threat you didn't see coming. Danger point number 7, heat shock and poor thermoregulation. There's something comforting about a hot shower. The warmth, the steam, the way it seems to ease the tension in your shoulders and start your day just right. But as we age, what once felt soothing can quietly become risky, sometimes dangerously so. That's because after 70, your body doesn't regulate temperature the way it used to. According to the American Geriatric Society, older adults experience a natural decline in thermoregulation, the ability to adjust quickly to sudden changes in heat or cold. What that means is simple. When your body is exposed to hot water, it can't cool itself down fast enough to maintain balance. The heat dilates your blood vessels, lowers your blood pressure, and in some cases, slows your heart rate. And in a slippery shower, that combination can be enough to bring you to your knees, literally. That's exactly what happened to Linda, a 75-year-old grandmother of 6 from Colorado. Linda loved her long, steamy morning showers. They were her quiet time, her reset. But one winter morning, about 3 minutes in, she started to feel strange. Her ears rang. Her vision dimmed. Then everything began to spin. She reached for the shower wall but couldn't steady herself. She slid down slowly, heart pounding, steam swirling around her like fog. Fortunately, she wasn't alone that day. Her husband heard the thud and got to her in time, but it scared them both. When she saw her doctor, they explained that it wasn't a stroke or heart attack. It was a heat-induced blood pressure crash, triggered by her body's inability to handle the sudden rise in temperature. Linda now showers with warm, not hot water, keeps the door cracked to let out excess steam, and has installed a temperature-limiting valve on her water heater, capping the maximum temperature at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Her showers still feel good, but now they're safe too. If you're over 70, this is one of the simplest, smartest adjustments you can make. Lower the temperature on your water heater to prevent accidental scalding. Most water heaters are factory set at 140 degrees Celsius, far too high for older skin and circulation. Set yours to 100 degrees Celsius or lower. If you're not sure how, ask a family member or a plumber to help. And if your shower knobs don't offer good control, consider installing a thermostatic mixing valve, a small device that ensures your water never gets too hot, no matter what. One more thing, stay mindful of how your body feels during the shower. Lightheadedness, ringing ears, or shortness of breath are early warning signs. If you feel them, turn off the water, sit down safely and breathe. Let me ask you this, have you ever stepped out of a hot shower and felt like the room was spinning? Leave a comment and let us know. Your story could help someone else recognize the signs before it's too late. And if this tip gave you something to think about, give the video a like. It's a small action that tells the platform this message matters and helps get it in front of someone else who might need it. Now you might think that once the shower ends, the danger is over. But actually, one of the riskiest moments is after the water stops. When you step from a warm, humid bathroom into a cold hallway, your body faces another shock. One that can be just as dangerous as the heat. Let's talk about temperature shock when stepping out and why your environment matters just as much as the water itself. Danger point number 8, temperature shock. From steamy bathroom to cold hallway. Sometimes, the danger doesn't come from the water at all. It comes from what happens after the shower, when you open the bathroom door and step out into the rest of the house. One moment you're surrounded by warm steam, the next you're hit with a blast of cold air. That sudden change? It's not just uncomfortable, it can be dangerous, especially for older adults. Here's why. When you move quickly from a hot, humid environment to a cooler space, your body experiences what doctors call peripheral vasoconstriction. That's a fancy way of saying your blood vessels tighten up. Fast. It's your body's natural way of keeping heat inside. But for someone over 70, with slower circulation and a more sensitive cardiovascular system, this rapid constriction can spike your blood pressure, trigger headaches, or even disrupt your heart rhythm. It's not just theory, it's happening in real homes to real people. Take Marvin, for example. He's 80, lives alone in upstate New York, and keeps his thermostat low to save on heating bills. One morning in February, after a relaxing hot shower, he opened the bathroom door and stepped into a hallway that felt like a walk-in freezer. The shock was immediate. He felt a rush of tightness in his chest. His head throbbed, and for a few seconds his vision dimmed. He leaned against the wall, heart pounding, unsure what was happening. His doctor later explained that Marvin had experienced a temperature-induced hypertensive spike. The sudden drop in ambient temperature caused his blood vessels to constrict so sharply, it put stress on his entire circulatory system. He hadn't slipped. He hadn't fainted. But the episode left him shaken, and it could have been worse. So how do you protect yourself? Start by making sure your transition out of the shower is smooth and warm. Before you step into the water, prepare your exit. Lay out a thick, dry towel. Have a warm robe within arm's reach. If your hallway tends to be cold, consider using a space heater outside the bathroom door, just long enough to take the edge off. And if possible, heat the bathroom itself before showering, especially in winter. Even a few degrees can make a big difference in how your body reacts. Another simple tip, don't rush. Take 30 seconds inside the bathroom after the water's off to dry off, and let your body cool gradually before stepping out. Think of it like landing an airplane. You want a slow descent, not a sudden drop. Have you ever felt that cold slap of air after a warm shower and thought, that can't be good? You were probably right. If you've ever experienced something like Marvin did, or if you've already made changes to stay warm after showering, let us know in the comments. Someone else might need your advice more than you know. And if this tip helped you think differently about something as simple as stepping out of the bathroom, go ahead and click like. It's a small way to say, this information matters. And it helps this video reach more people who may not realize just how dangerous that cold hallway can be. But even this isn't the final threat. There's still one more danger, one so subtle, so easy to overlook, that it sneaks in at the very moment you wake up. It's not the water. It's not the heat. It's how your body reacts when you move too fast, before it's ready. Let's talk about the silent drop in blood pressure that can happen just from standing up too quickly, and why it's one of the most underestimated risks in every senior's morning routine. Danger point number 9, blood flow disruption from sudden movement. For most of your life, getting out of bed was a simple act. You opened your eyes, swung your legs over the edge, stood up, and got going. But after 70, that one moment, the shift from lying to standing, can become a silent trap. It's called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when you move too quickly from lying down to sitting or standing. And while it might sound like a fancy term, its effects are all too real. Dizziness, blurred vision, unsteadiness, and in some cases, fainting. Here's what's happening inside your body. While you sleep, your heart rate slows, your blood vessels relax, and your blood tends to pool in your lower extremities. When you sit up or stand too fast, gravity pulls even more blood downward, away from your brain. Normally, your body reacts instantly, tightening the vessels and increasing heart rate to keep you balanced. But as we age, that response slows. Just a second or two of delay is all it takes to leave your brain momentarily starved of oxygen. The result? You feel lightheaded, or worse, the world goes black. That's exactly what happened to Alan, a 78-year-old retired pilot from Arizona. He'd always been disciplined, structured, never slept in past 6. One morning, just like always, he woke up and stood up in one fluid motion. He felt a little dizzy, but shrugged it off and headed straight for the shower. He never made it. Halfway across the bedroom, he collapsed. His wife found him on the floor, pale, confused, disoriented. Thankfully, there was no major injury. But in the ER, doctors diagnosed orthostatic hypotension and warned that his quick rise from bed had been the trigger. Alan later said, "I didn't even realize I was rushing. I've been doing it that way my whole life." That's the danger. It feels normal. But your body isn't 30 anymore. And it's not about slowing down out of fear. It's about being smarter, gentler, and more aware of what your body needs now. So what can you do? Start by giving your circulation a chance to catch up. When you wake, don't rush. Lie still for a minute. Then sit up slowly and rest on the edge of the bed for at least 2 full minutes. Let your body adjust. Breathe deeply. While you're there, try gently rotating your ankles, flexing your feet, or clenching and relaxing your thighs. These simple movements activate circulation and signal your body to wake up your blood vessels. Then, and only then, stand up, calmly and with purpose. You might be surprised how much steadier and more in control you feel. Let me ask you, have you ever stood up quickly and felt the world spin, even just for a moment? You're not alone. Share your story in the comments. Someone out there may realize they're not just getting old, they're experiencing something real and preventable. If this tip helped you rethink your morning pace, go ahead and tap that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Every week we're exploring ways to stay strong, safe, and independent, because age doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. And now that we've walked through 9 hidden risks, from your blood pressure to your vision, your meds to your movements, it's time to tie it all together, because your morning shower should be one of the best parts of your day, not the most dangerous. Let's recap what we've learned and what you can start doing today to protect yourself or someone you love. Now you know, showering early in the morning after 70 isn't just a harmless habit. It's a quiet risk, woven into a routine that so many of us never thought to question. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up your independence to stay safe. You don't need fancy equipment or expensive upgrades. All it takes is awareness and a few intentional changes. Drink a glass of water. Wait a little longer before stepping in. Lower the water temperature. Turn on a light. Pause before you stand. These are small shifts, but together they create a powerful line of defense. One that protects not just your health, but your dignity, your confidence, and your ability to live on your own terms. So if you're watching this and thinking, that's me, I do that exact thing. You're not alone. And it's never too late to make a change that matters. And if someone you love is over 70, still taking morning showers in the dark, still pushing through dizziness or brushing off close calls, share this video with them. You might never know the fall you prevented, but they will. Before you go, take a moment to reflect and connect. What time do you usually shower? Have you ever felt dizzy, unsteady, or rushed in the morning? Leave a comment below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this helpful, please click the like button, not just for us, but to help this message reach someone else who needs it. And finally, if you're ready to keep learning, keep protecting your health, and keep living well on your own terms, subscribe to this channel. We're here for you every week with real practical advice for life after 70, because you deserve information that's honest, useful, and built for your stage of life. Your morning doesn't have to be dangerous. It can be strong, it can be safe, it can still be yours.